Most people have read a book or two, but when we buy and read them, how do we know what categories they fall into, or if the criteria for the categories is constantly changing? The categorization of books and novels can really hold great importance. They can completely alter the way we interpret a book's message, meaning, and what the author is trying to convey. So in that case, what is a Bildungsroman? Bildungsromans are books and novels about the moral and psychological growth of characters, or as I'd like to think of it, books that follow a protagonist who is coming to terms with who they are and how they are growing into adulthood. Some classic Bildungsromans are The Catcher in the Rye, Jane Eyre, and Pride and Prejudice. The Perks of Being a Wallflower is a novel by Stephen Chbosky that explores the life of a young man named Charlie, who is in a sense coming of age. It is categorized as a Bildungsroman because of its transformative and vivid infiltration into the mind of a young boy and all of his deepest, darkest thoughts. A film adaptation was portrayed by Logan Lerman, Emma Watson, and Ezra Miller.
The only friend I make today, that would be sort of depressing.
One of the literary world's most famous protagonists is J.D. Salinger's Holden Caulfield. Caulfield is described as a paradigmatic teenager we can all relate to. Cultural critic and author Morris Dickstein says this is because the skepticism and the belief in the purity of the soul against the tawdry trash culture plays very well in the counterculture and the post-culture generation. In a New York Times article, teachers said that young readers just don't like Holden as much as they used to. It states that they find the once courageous and truth-telling character to be weird, whiny, and immature. This shows that the criteria for what resonates with teenagers and serves as a best-fitting Bildungsroman character changes over time. In that case, perhaps Charlie should be recognized as the latest poster boy for what it takes to be a Bildungsroman character. Critics like Joan Didion even mocked Caulfield's moral shallowness and relatability, which was said in a rather satirical tone. One publishing house even said that it wasn't clear whether Holden was supposed to be crazy. Critics have said that teenagers now prefer pop culture heroes like Harry Potter, who conquer the world instead of rejecting it like Holden. This is also a reason that classics like Jane Eyre mostly hold a place in our hearts, even if they are sometimes difficult to relate to. Many students have said that they can't really feel bad for a rich kid with a weekend free in New York City. This opens the door for Charlie, who is just a regular kid who is dealing with emotional problems while trying to make friends in high school, portraying a more realistic character that students can relate to without feeling unusual. Charlie's ethos can be seen as friendlier and more emotional than Holden's, which allows the youth of today to resonate with him. This shows that the criteria for what an effective and relatable Bildungsroman character is changes over time. So maybe we should all give Charlie a chance and let Holden figure out who the phonies are.